Hello there. So a couple weeks ago I was on YouTube and I saw someone, another pen reviewer, mention that you can take apart the TWSBI Swipe converters. And I was like, what? You can take those apart? And then I was like, of course you can take them apart. It's TWSBI. They love making pens that you can take apart. That's their thing. So today I want to show you how to take these things apart. Why? I don't really know. Actually, I think it might come in handy further down the road if the converters start to get a little stiff or something. You could probably take them apart and use some liquid silicone grease to grease them up a little bit, just like you would with a TWSBI Eco or another TWSBI piston pen. So you can log this information away for later in case your pen gets a little stiff. So we'll hop to it right after the intro. Okay, so I've got both of the converters here that come with the TWSBI Swipe if you are lucky enough to be in the United States and get both of these converters with the pen. It still kind of blows my mind a little bit that TWSBI gives you two converters. It's a little bit much, but hey, I'll take it. And they're both pretty cool. So anyway, let's talk about taking these apart. Let's start with the spring one because that's what everybody's getting regardless of where you live. So it's pretty simple. This metal part here, just lefty-loosey, screw it off, and then you can pull this whole thing out. Be careful that you don't lose the agitator ball. I was practicing this a minute ago and it rolled out and I was like, oh no. I mean, if you lost it, it probably wouldn't be the end of the world, but you probably just don't want to lose parts of your pen. Anyway, so spring comes off. There's a little shelf it kind of just sits into right there, so it's easy to get back on. This doesn't really come off unless, can you unscrew this? Maybe not. Anyway, there's no point in taking that off anyway. By the way, I'm like pretty impressed with the quality of the metal parts on these converters. They're pretty beefy, so go TWSBI. Okay, so then you've got these two little O-rings here that create your seal. So if it did get a little stiff, and I feel like mine might be getting just a tad stiff, so maybe I'll eventually get one of those little silicone bottles from one of my TWSBI Ecos and grease this up a little bit. But you could grease just kind of right in between there, just a little bit if you wanted to. Make sure the spring's on securely, and then just take the main part of the converter, slide everything back in, and then just righty-tighty, and you're good to go. And it's the same thing with the more standard converter, except you have more pieces. So I'm going to take all the pieces apart and put them back together in case you like get stuck or something, because sometimes pen parts can just be a little bit of a puzzle, especially when it comes to TWSBI. So yeah, lefty-loosey, this comes completely off. And then you'll see here, you've got these little, I don't know what you'd call those, the tabs. So those have to fit together when you put it back together. So just keep that in mind. Just pull it straight out. And now you've got your little piston mechanism. And this comes apart as well. You don't need to take this next part apart, but just in case you do and suddenly find yourself in a situation where you don't know how to get back together, I'll show you how it works. So you've got your piston rod thingy, and then you've got your little turn knob, and then this middle part. So there really isn't that much to it. It's a little bit simpler than a piston pen, I think. Okay, so let's put it back together. Oh dear, let's make sure I can do this right. Okay, so the tricky part is gonna be, okay, so let me show you. I wanna make sure I go slow. Okay, so the fat end goes on here like this. And then this just goes right in there. And then you can start twisting the knob here and it will attach to the piston rod and pull it in. The thing though is that you might find it in a situation where it's kind of stuck out a little bit, like that's as far in as it'll go. And if that happens, I don't know exactly how to fix that, but just from some trial and error, I can fix it. So I think what you do here is just take this thing off a little bit just, there you go. Sorry if you couldn't see that. I was looking at the converter and not the screen. Okay, so basically, if you pull this down here like this, you might get a little stuck because I don't know exactly why. I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. But if you pull this up a little bit as you're screwing it down, it might just give you a little more room. And so you can get that really nice and tucked in there. Make sure you get the most out of your ink capacity. Okay, so we got that. Yep, the agitator ball is still in there. We didn't lose that. So then we'll just slide this back in. Oh, I should say too, again with this one, you can just put a drop or two of liquid silicone grease in here if you wanted to, and you'd be good to go. So line that little tab up with the little slot there, and take your metal piece and, oops, a little tight. There we go. All right, just screw it back on, nice and tight there, and you're good to go. Okay, I think that's about it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Bye.